The intent of this safety training program is to provide you with information and guidelines to protect your safety and health in the workplace, as recommended by OSHA standards. OSHA stands for the Occupational Safety and Health Administration of the United States Department of Labor. It is the responsibility of OSHA to prescribe safety recommendations to protect workers from health hazards inherent in different workplace settings. As an employee of primacore Solutions, you will be assigned to work in our client facilities that are not under our control. The training we are providing you is therefore intended to educate you in what the OSHA standards are, how you can protect yourself, and what to expect relative to the facility's responsibility for on-site safety provisions required by OSHA standards. If you have questions about safety practices in any of the facilities to which you are assigned, or observe what you believe to be unsafe practices, promptly contact us to review and follow up on your observations and/or concerns. Employees will not be disciplined or suffer any retaliation for reporting a safety violation in good faith. If you are ever injured while at work and on duty, regardless of how slight the injury, immediately report it to your on-site client supervisor and also notify your local primacore representative. If you are unable to reach your local representative, contact us at our 24-hour phone line found on our website. Before I cover specific injury types, let's briefly hit the basics. If your assignment requires PPE or personal protection equipment, it is your responsibility to use it at all times while you are working. Do not make your own decision that hard hats, steel-toed boots, protective eye gear, gloves, etc. aren't necessary, if you have been told that they are. If you are not assigned specifically to drive a vehicle, don't drive. If your supervisor asks you to run an errand in their vehicle or help move vehicles around, politely tell them that driving is not covered by your assignment and notify primacore immediately. This also applies to getting on ladders, scaffolding, or climbing on roofs. Unless those are specifically what your job is and a part of your assigned duties, don't do it. Contact us and we will sort it out with the client. Of course, we want you to do what you are told by your supervisor, but only within the scope of your assigned duties. Now let's cover some common injury issues. Research and experience shows that 80% of workplace injuries fall into 4 basic categories. The first is rookie accidents. Our statistics show that you are most likely to be involved in an accident or sustain an injury in the first 2 weeks on a new job assignment. This could be a completely new job, a new position at your assignment, or working with different or unfamiliar equipment and machines. Pay attention, be alert, ask questions, follow the rules, don't take unnecessary chances, learn your new routine. The second major category is soft tissue injury and repetitive motion injuries. These injuries can be reduced by stretching and warming up. Before you start your shift, take some time to stretch. Research shows that this simple task can reduce muscle, tendon, and ligament problems. It also helps you warm up before you start your shift. If your job requires reaching, lifting, or stretching your arms repetitively for long periods of time, you are especially vulnerable to strain. Take breaks as necessary, and if you develop pain or soreness from repetitive motion, notify your primacore representative and your client supervisor for guidance. The third category is slips, trips, and falls. The main cause of slips, trips, and falls in the workplace are uneven floor surfaces, unsuitable floor coverings, and wet floors. Be on the lookout for these problems and either take care of them if able or bring them to the attention of supervisors. Clean up spills immediately. If a spill can't be cleaned up right away, place wet floor warning signs for workers. Keep walkways and hallways free of debris, clutter, and obstacles. Keep filing cabinets and desk drawers shut when not in use. Cover cables or cords in walkways. Replace burnout light bulbs promptly. The final major category is injuries caused by improper lifting and material handling. Back injuries and discomfort are very common in the workplace. They occur from improper lifting, reaching, pushing, or pulling. Most often, people hurt their backs because they underestimate a load and take on more than can be handled safely. Proper care of the back involves planning ahead, lifting correctly, and getting help for heavy or awkward loads. Plan ahead. Before moving a load, it is important to plan both the load and the route. This allows you to evaluate hazards, limitations, route safety, and final placement. For the load, evaluate the weight, shape, and material. Some items to check include the item to be moved. Do you need special safety gear or special gloves? The load. Are the size, shape, and weight within your limits? Are there loose parts or sharp edges? Can you get a firm handhold? Will you be able to see over the load and maneuver it along the route? Assistance. What kind of assistance will you need? Other people or mechanical aids like a dolly, cart, or specialized equipment determined by that type of load? The second part of planning ahead is checking the route you will take and the place where you will deposit the load. Many injuries and considerable property damage occur when unexpected problems are encountered during the move. Some points to consider are the route. Are there steps, tripping hazards, closed doors, tight doorways or passageways? Are there blind corners or wet or slippery floors? What is the traffic situation? Think of people, vehicles, and other obstacles that you might encounter. The drop-off point. Where will you place the load? Is there room for it? Is the site strong enough to hold the load? Will it block traffic or create a hazard when placed? Is it the right place to put the load, or will it have to be moved again? Here is a little information on the design of your back. The back is composed of small bones called vertebrae that are stacked on top of each other. Between them are fibrous discs that provide padding and cushion shocks. Nerves run down the center and muscles hold it all together. Because of its structure, the back is strongest in the upright position with the natural curve maintained. It is weakest when bent, extended, or twisted. That's why most back injuries occur when reaching upward or outward or when twisting. The best way to protect the back is to remember to keep it in vertical alignment, straight up and down. When lifting with the back upright, the weight naturally distributes down the spine and to the legs. Reaching forward or twisting to lift something does the opposite. Concentrates stress on one point and strains the muscles and discs. Here are some tips on lifting properly. Keeping the structure of the back in mind, all loads should be lifted with the back in the most natural upright position. The load should be approached to avoid twisting while lifting and with the body over the load as much as possible. Approach the load. Face the load so that you won't have to lift and turn. This means point your feet in the direction you will be moving the load before lifting the load. Grasp the load. Squat over the load with knees bent and the load between the legs as much as possible. The closer you keep the load to the body, the less stress it places on your back. Make certain you have a good grasp of the load with the whole hand. Wear gloves and check for pinch points and sharp edges. If you can't get a good handhold, stop and reevaluate your move before lifting. Carry the load. Lead with the feet as you carry the load. Turn slowly with the legs, not the back. Change grips carefully and watch for obstructions that could bruise the hands. Place the load. Put down the load with the same care used to pick it up. Plan your approach to avoid twisting or reaching forward with the load in hand. Squat to put it down just as you did to pick it up. Since most back injuries arise from underestimating the weight or awkwardness of the load, make certain to get help whenever you think you might need it. Here are a few more things to consider when moving items. Team lifting. When more than one person is required to lift a load, designate one person to call the directions and the lifting steps so everyone will move at the same pace. Stacking. Overlap and interlock rows and never stack above the crush height or above the height limits for the facility. Make certain the base is clean and level and can support the weight. Drums. Use a lift truck with drum forks or a drum dolly to move drums. If moving individual empty drums, roll on the side, not the rim, and always work on the downside of the drum with the hands on the belly of the drum, not the rim. Cylinders. Compressed gas cylinders are like bombs with very short fuses. The valve must be protected by a proper safety cap. Move individual cylinders with a special hand truck and walk cylinders only short distances to align them. They must be stored in designated areas and secured with safety chains or bars. Mechanical aids. Often the best way to move loads is with a mechanical aid like a dolly, hand truck, or rolling cart. Choose the right aid for the job and inspect it before use. Place heaviest items on the bottom with the weight concentrated between the wheels. Keep hands away from the edges so they won't be scraped or crushed at doorways. Here is our policy on electronic devices while driving. If you are driving as part of your primacore assignment, do not use a cell phone or other electronic device unless it is equipped with a speaker or hands-free feature. Since 2017, Texas enacted a statewide ban on texting while driving. While not every individual city has banned talking on the phone while driving, the city of San Antonio adopted a hands-free law that bans the use of electronic wireless communications that require the use of a driver's hand to operate while driving a motor vehicle. Drivers are not allowed to talk, text, view email or pics, or use smartphone apps while driving, even if the driver is at a stoplight or stuck in traffic. Hands-free devices are exempt from the ban. Smartphone apps or GPS navigation may be used as long as the phone is affixed to their vehicle. Primacore adopts the San Antonio standard as a company policy, regardless of the absence of a city ordinance or law. Accidents and injuries are bad for business, and of course, bad for you, our employees. Although we will certainly provide for your medical needs if injured on the job, avoiding the injury is best for all and is our goal. It should be your goal as well. If you have any comments or suggestions on our safety program and efforts, please bring them forward. Enjoy your assignment and let's be safe.